We have lost, as you know, some chaps killed in this work, and the anxiety, I'm told, increases to its maximum during this course. And from that time onward, you, the fellow that they pointed the finger at, come face to face with the threat and with what you have got to do to meet that threat. There are risks inherent in the handling of explosives, even when they're in the most safe conditions. And you are going to go into a situation where they are in the most unsafe conditions.
This is a job few of us would want. Dave Evans, rank sergeant, married, 2 children, age 27, pay £3,000 a year.
Did you volunteer to become a bomb disposal expert?
Not a bomb disposal expert, no. Ammunition technician maybe, but not a bomb disposal expert, no. This is sort of one of the sides of the job, or aspects of the job, they just don't tell you about until it comes around, you know.
Bob Steele, rank warrant officer 2nd class, married, 2 children, age 31, £3,500 a year.
Volunteers, a few. Most people say it's because if anything went wrong, you'd have to live with it. If somebody tells you you're going, then you go.
Tony Hicks, corporal, married, 1 child, aged 20, £2,600 a year.
No, I didn't volunteer. I was volunteered, so to speak.
Nigel Thorne, captain, married, 1 child, age 27, £3,500 a year.
I think the general feeling is that no one really wants to go. However, I ended up on the course, and of course part of the work of an ATO is bomb disposal.
Good morning. As you all know, the job of the ammunition technician in Northern Ireland is a difficult one, carried out under extremely tense conditions.
They've all been detailed off for a course that will send them to tackle bombs in Northern Ireland. But before they start the course, they are tested by an army psychiatrist and a woman psychologist.
Our aim is to ensure that you're not only physically fit, of which we're quite certain, but that you are also free from any serious personality weakness.
Like most people, they react to a psychiatrist with mild paranoia. They're alarmed at questions like, do you like putting your feet into furry slippers? And they're inclined to challenge the psychiatrist.
If the test does prove you to be a man liable to break under pressure, that's bound to affect your whole career, I'd have thought.
What happens to the extremely anxious person that doesn't get sent because of this? You don't do him any good at all, you know. You just make him more anxious.
Yes, the question that was bothering me was, in education, is it more important to, and the first choice is give the child enough affection. Then there's the in-between answer, and the third choice is have the child learn desirable habits and attitudes. Well, I regard both A and C equally.
With the same hours and pay, it would be more interesting to be a carpenter or a cook or a waiter in a good restaurant. Well, you know,
Which?
this is question number 26. I mean, I've never done any cookery. I've not done any waiting in a restaurant, and I haven't done any carpentry. So, you know, what sort of answer would I give to that?
The course takes place somewhere in England in a fiercely guarded ammunition depot. Familiar surroundings to the trainees, they're all from the Royal Army Ordnance Corps, all used to working with explosives. Conveyor belts convey shells in the Ordnance Corps' scheme of things, and trains haul lethal cargoes into underground bunkers where the storerooms are pregnant with high explosive. The Ordnance Corps Museum displays 350 years of improving killing power, from the cannonball through red-hot shot to the armor-piercing warhead with nylon fittings. Some of these breakthroughs must have been as pleasing to their discoverers as penicillin was to Fleming. But the lectures the bomb disposal men get here teach them not how to take life, but how to protect it, particularly their own.
We've got an example here. This particular one blows off as soon as the lid is removed. Of course, we don't really like to go and just take the lid off a box in that way. So the chap can conceal everything so that when the bomb is picked up, it blows up.
If you look in a car, you could hide quite a considerable amount of explosive in a car without it even showing. Places like door panels inside, in the window arches, bags and bags of space, behind seats, stacks of room, under seats. This one's not as good for transporting explosives as the others because this is sponge. Behind the hubcaps, also favourite place for carrying detonators, small amount of explosives. So you could put, say, 250 pounds of explosive in this car without it even showing. But what I'll do now, I shall show you the effect of 1 pound, 1 ounce of explosive on this car.
Stand by!
Quite frightening, quite frightening.
That was just £1.
Just £1.
What might you be dealing with, a normal amount?
And, well, they've had up to, what, £1,100? £1,100.
Half a ton.
And so it goes on.
One of the officers who was killed was called to a car bomb parked in a grotty little side street in Belfast. He walked up to it with a high-powered torch, and as he was about 10 feet away, it went up. Another senior rank, killed in similar circumstances by explosives in a drum placed in bushes beside a country road. He hooked and lined them. He went up to them, to this drum, and started to pull out the bags of explosive. He found some loose detonators there. He called out to the chap who was with him about 30 yards, 40 yards away, "We'll have to hook and line it again," and with that it went up.
Since the Ulster troubles started, 12 bomb disposal men have been killed. That's approximately 1 out of every 20 involved.
I suppose you expect to lose a few. They're there. You don't forget them. And I met a friend of mine today who was injured out there, and that's even more. That drives the nail that much harder because he bears a few scars. That's a reminder. But I don't really think you need this sort of imagery to keep you aware. I mean, you're not going there really to come back alive. You're going there to do a job, and if you do the job properly, you will come back, unless luck is against you.
Have you talked a lot about him going?
Not very much. We did at the beginning, but we don't talk very much about it. We try to ignore it.
Do you think that the situation justifies his being sent?
Of course, yes. Because I think he goes to protect human life. And in my point, if he would only go to protect property, for instance, a hotel to be saved or a department store, I would say it's pointless.
When you arrive in Belfast, do you expect to be frightened?
Yes. I think so. I shall certainly be on my toes the whole time. I'm making out all sorts of sheets and checklists so that I do follow a set procedure myself.
In the crucial final exams, Nigel has to deal with a bomb planted under a train.
Captain Gunn, please. Captain Gunn. Captain Gunn.
Captain Gunn?
Captain Gunn.
I'm Captain Gunn.
Right.
Yes.
The others act the parts of local troops and witnesses.
Mr. Porter.
Here, yeah.
Mr. Porter, have you seen this said device?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's under a railway wagon.
Where?
Under an engine, in fact.
Right.
Exam nerves aren't helping.
Okay, Captain Gunn.
Certainly.
Captain Gunn. You've just arrived.
I've just arrived, yes.
And have you done anything about a cordon or not at this stage?
No, I pulled up just when you did. We must have
Right.
got
Okay.
tasks at the same time.
Like you do, cordon off. And
Tony arrives 5 minutes late.
200 metres.
Yep.
Do you want complete cordon?
Devised in the Army's equivalent of the small back room, this robot is called Wheelbarrow. Nigel and Tony control it from behind cover.
We've got a jam already up there.
But as yet, they're learners.
Flick the cable. Don't go up there. Flick the cable. You can't get it. No. All right. Mind the cable. Keep the cable. Keep the cable right. That's right.
Among other things, wheelbarrows carry a gun to defuse the bomb by shooting through its mechanism without exploding it, and a TV camera to look at the bomb.
Firing.
The bomb is defused. Nigel has passed.
Inspector, and the ground troop commander, please.
Bob's test is a device laid beside a strategic road in open country. An instructor plays the part of the earnest policeman who's found the bomb.
We won't waste money. Yes, I'm going back in now to deal with this one. The situation is the same. You will get, in all probability, a very large bang. You may well get a moderately small bang. Don't worry yourself about the size of the bangs.
Right, sir.
At the end of my first action, I will give you 3 bibs.
Again.
If anything untowards occurs, I will contact you on the radio.
Right, sir.
And if I manage to carry the whole system through, 1 long blast.
Clear.
This means your men can come from cover, but must still maintain cordons. And then if you will join me here, I would appreciate it.
Very good, sir. Very good indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, yes. Bye-bye. Right. What's going on? Discuss.
I don't know, I've just arrived. Were you late? To walk all the way from the main gate up to here. That's why I'm a bit lazy.
Does that mean you're in trouble?
I doubt it.
Come on.
After checking for booby traps, Bob decides it's safe to go to the bomb. He's carrying a mock-up explosive charge and trailing an electric flex. On his first try, the flex snags, and in full view of the examiners, he has to run for cover.
Did you check what the cause of the snag was? Did you?
No, I ran straight back. He doesn't know either.
He doesn't. He just snagged
No.
it, was it? All right. The crucial time is when you can see it and it can see you.
He goes through it again, and a small pop announces that he's successfully completed his exercise.
I feel ready to cope with the real thing now.
Well, this thought struck me at tea, that as of tomorrow, they're real. And I'll think about that for a couple of weeks, and I'm quite sure when the time comes I'll get used to the idea. But if they're all real, then you can't go wrong, can you? If you think they're all real. I think, believe you me, when I was running down there and my wire snagged, that could have been the biggest bomb ever laid to me, because I could have panicked. I'd like to think I didn't, I ran back. But when I was down there, that was real. That was no bag full of sand to me.
Dave's test simulates the most nerve-wracking task, the manual approach. Even when the robot has initially defused the bomb, the man still has to dismantle it and check for booby traps. A mistake might mean death in a real situation, failure in the exam. But he passes. End of course drinks, and by now they're almost enjoying a bit of morbid anticipation.
Hopefully they give you plasma and not transfusion.
Yeah. A quarter of them, including Tony, have failed. The rest will soon be in Northern Ireland. As their Chief Brigadier Dutton confirms, for bomb disposal men it's the hottest place in the world.
I chaired an international terrorism convention last November, and we had most of the, shall we say, the peace-loving countries were there. And it's very interesting, in fact, to see that everybody faces the same problem, because it's so easy. The methods of making bombs and methods of using car bombs. But at that convention, nevertheless, the convention lasted 3 days, and from the start of the convention to my closing address, and I included this in the closing address, we'd had more bombs in Northern Ireland in those 3 days than all the other countries had had in the previous 12 months put together.
They ask me how I knew my true love was true.
Home for the 4-month stint Nigel will do in Belfast will be here. Dave will be arriving soon for his first sight of the barracks. They live behind screens to ward off neighbourly bullets from the flats next door.
Do you get much trouble from them, do you?
We get a little late. They take pot shots of the Sanger now and again. We had a blast bomb over the back wall once, but nothing serious. Nothing to write home about.
Their official title is ATOs, Ammunition Technical Officers, and their force is known as Felix, after the cat with 9 lives. The barracks is a derelict factory taken over by the army, held together by good humour and pin-ups, and heavily fortified.
Go on.
On his first call, Dave, as new boy, acts as assistant. A small parcel has been planted in a doorway. Wheelbarrow can get to it, so Wheelbarrow can take the risks. 11 of these robots have been blown up so far. Wheelbarrow is carrying our camera as well for a close-up view.
Stand by! Fire in!
It's a deliberate hoax. The parcel contained only a glass vase.
How does this compare with the course? Does it feel different being over here?
Yes, it does with the crowds around. Yes, this is the whole atmosphere is different, you know, that way. But the situation is very similar to what they've taught us, you know. I must admit that. Yeah, very similar.
Did you hear that joke Sid came out with today? What did he come out with? One of the units in Belfast picked up an Irishman last night who'd been sent over here to blow up the Belfast ferry. But he didn't succeed because he couldn't get his mouth over the funnels on it. One of Sid's corny jokes. I'm glad he's gone down the airport. Right, who's going next? You'll go, son.
Yeah, I go.
You know, it's a bit slack now. You see when they're all playing Scrabble. But about 10 o'clock sometimes it warms up, you know. It goes in spasms. When the Protestants were having their strike, I think it went for a fortnight where we didn't get anything up till midnight, and then everything happened after midnight.
Hello, Nigel. Yes, Clive, 39 Ops. Look, we've got a suspect device on the road at grid 335732. It was timed at 2103. Security forces have looked at it. It's the RV is 334729.
Left here.
Bravo team's on its way. Is it good? Thanks very much. Bye.
First set of red traffic lights. Approaching the second set and going down to Unity Class.
Then I would suggest you stop all these people wandering around and get the taxi people out of the way.
Can you move everyone back?
You're just causing confusion.
And anything coming down that road could be stopped now. There's something here.
Tell the police over there, sir.
What?
Do you want me to tell them over there?
Yeah, get those to do. Turn that on, boys.
Nigel's first call is to a street that's already been bombed repeatedly. Now a suspicious package has been left in a lady's underwear shop.
You have a lot of building material you see there actually.
Is it any of it across the hallway?
No, nothing I would think to obstruct your movement.
Yeah. Okay. And here, I can get straight there, looking this way down, can I?
Yes, there was timber around it.
Yeah.
It's a small plastic packet, say that has more than a pound of something, whatever it is. You know.
Okay, we'll see what we can find.
Right.
Get wheelbarrow off, will you?
You could stay with me while we're fiddling with the diesel. If we can get far. If not, we're going to have to wait a bit.
Okay. It's in the back of Alpha Cow.
Fine. Right.
If Wheelbarrow can get inside and along the passage to where the parcel is, Nigel can stay back in safety.
Can I get that past the steps?
Not very much. Get it round the corner.
You doubt if I get it round the corner?
What is that one? Possibly is that one. That one.
No. Don't think we're going to get there. I think it's pretty impossible.
Wheelbarrow can't get in, Nigel may have to. He talks it through with his major, who's turned out in a hurry in plain clothes.
There's no way from the rear of the building. There's no way from the rear of the building at all, apart from going in remotely, because they're rebuilding it.
Now, I see you tried one entrance. At the shop there are 2 or 3 entrances. Are any of those any good too?
None at all. This is the only one into this particular shop. We've asked about going in from either side, and it's all walls. It's just a small. And in fact, they are recovering from the last bombing attack at the moment.
Have you had a lot of experience with bombs here?
We've had approximately 12, I reckon. 12
well, this
different
would be,
types.
This would be the 11th or 12th one, if it goes off.
Does that mean you're not much worried about them anymore?
Yes, exceedingly worried.
If you decide that you have to go in, how do you weigh up the danger to your life against the danger that it is currently causing, which is only to property?
It's very difficult. That certainly is only against property. But let's face it, that property is certain people's livelihood. There's a chap up there with his son. They own the place, and that is their livelihood. There is something believed to be in there. They're not going to deal with it.
You want the tape switch on so we can have a laugh when we get back?
Yeah, we can have a laugh when we get back.
Might have a laugh when we turn it on
We'll
now.
see. what we want to do, sir, they got knickers in there. We want to see if you start breathing heavy.
On this hand, pull my watch off, will you?
Can you explain what you're going in to do and what the dangers are that you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm going in now. I'm going up to the device, and I'm going to try and disrupt it using a bit of kit that we've got. I've got a very good route map now in my mind as to the way I've got to go in. I'm taking with me a torch, just in case it is needed when I get inside. And as I say, this bit of kit that we've got.
And there's no doubt in your mind that it is your job, your duty to go in.
No doubt at all, no. Tell them I'm going in, and that when I come out, there's a possibility, if this thing is an incendiary device, if it is an incendiary device, that there could be a fire, and that we would like a fire tender standing by. Okay? Yep. Oh, he's here. I'm going in now.
In theory, they only risk their lives to save others. In practice, the bomb disposal man must go in and risk his life even when all that's at stake is a shop full of underwear. He goes in, places a charge to defuse the parcel, comes out, fires by remote control, goes back in and finds it's another deliberate hoax.
Which we shot up a bit.
Traffic is rolling, not quite complete. Inside the parcel was a pair of DMS boots. Over.
Next morning, Nigel writes up his report of last night's incident, while the mess gets the nearest thing to spit and polish that they stoop to here for a visit from the Brigadier. As head of all the Felix teams, the Brigadier is the link between Ministry of Defence policy and the men on the ground.
In many cases where your men are working, the threat is only to property, and the people have already been evacuated from the area, so the only life that's at stake is your man's.
Yes, it's at stake to the extent he does have remote equipment, mind you. I mean, he's not immediately at risk. after he's dealt with the bomb, if the bomb in the process hasn't gone off, then he's got to go and take the bits and pieces out. He's at risk then. But what else do you do? Do you just let people go around and blow every bit of property up? You've got to have some response to the terrorist.
Hello, darling. How are you? Absolutely nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened in that for Nigel it's all been false alarms and hoaxes, deliberate psychological warfare, frustrating, wearing, exasperating.
Back, please. Go on, back, back.
A car bomb, according to a phone call, has been placed by the cathedral. They move in on the one car that can't be accounted for. Nigel decides to use wheelbarrow to blast away into the car. He will pump foam into the street to muffle the explosion if the bomb goes off. Car bomb explosions can be big and sudden.
Round the far side of the vehicle, Tex. Hang on, I'm trying to turn the bloody thing.
Are you still foaming? Don't stop foaming at any place, but keep on foaming as high as you can go, but make sure you've got some water coming in.
Wheelbarrow is within seconds of firing when drama dissolves into farce.
Is that the owner? Can you bring him here, please? Quickly.
You are prepared to go
Certainly,
open
open the car, certainly.
You are prepared to, are you?
Definitely, yes.
Right. Okay. Have you got the keys?
There's the key there.
Right.
The centre of Belfast's been brought to a standstill. Nigel's burned up a lot of nervous energy, and once again it's all for nothing. In Londonderry, in the more gracious setting of a country town, battered though it is, and in the relative splendour of a proper barracks, Bob Steele is getting a rundown on local bombing history.
What's trouble over here?
That was early this year, Strabane, the border crossing.
Why there? I mean, what do they...
Oh, Rose Dugdale, you remember she just gone in the nick for 9
You've
years.
heard of the helicopter bomb,
Helicopter
haven't you?
bombs.
They say bomb disposal work is 10% fear and 90% waiting.
This game as it is, there's no need for shading. I assume you want to take that one. Yes,
When his first call-out comes, it's to some plastic sacks found near a barn out in the country. Country bombs can be worse than town bombs. Laying a bomb in a quiet field gives a bomber time for subtleties he couldn't arrange in a busy street, as Colonel Gaff explains.
He can take his time in preparing the device. He can lure us into the device. He can attack not only the ATO who's going to have to deal with it, but the security forces who are searching for it as well. He can lay what we call a come-on, which is an explosion or a find or anything placed that will attract security forces into the area and then lead them from one step to the next and eventually set off a device either by radio control, for example, or by a tripwire, or by just a pressure plate. They treat it almost as a game, trying to outguess us and outmaneuver us. Of course, we have to be ready to outmaneuver them at every move.
Until they explode, country bombs seem unbelievable, but an anonymous phone call says there are sacks of explosive here.
Well, they're fertiliser sacks,
yeah.
And there's about that much in the bottom of each of them, it looks like, and they're tied at the neck.
And I'll call through in a direct line from here now.
In a direct line?
Yeah. Approximately. 50 metres. About 50 metres. Well, let's move back. Come on, can we get everybody moved?
Once they know how far off the sacks are, they know they're too close to them. Feeling rather new, Bob is glad of something to do.
We looked where the explosions were. We walked in, examined them, and then left it at that.
Did you move the sacks?
No, we didn't touch them, no.
Right, it's 4 sacks.
4 plastic bags.
All approximately half full.
Yeah.
Can we call up helicopter?
The helicopter will come out from Derry to lift them above the hedgerows to fill in another piece of the jigsaw.
The troops and the police have been here, have seen some of the ground, and have seen what they think are sacks partially filled underneath a bush with another object nearby. It's in a derelict building over there.
Bob goes up for a look and takes our second camera with him.
It could have all the hallmarks of a trap. You can see we're in a lonely place. We're in a place where it's impossible to see anything. I mean, you know, we haven't seen the situation other than from the air. It is, I'm told, partially hostile around here. There again, it could be a drop point, it could be a collection point.
If one of the bombers is watching and waiting for you or your colleagues to go close, where could it be watching from? Because we can see most of the area around here.
Well, the problem is the man who watches is not necessarily the man who activates. I mean, there's a high hill over there. Now, the man there could watch. He's not necessarily the man who commands the situation on the ground. So it's, you know, it's a system of when I blow my nose, do something.
They call in the search team, garrison troops who will go over the ground looking for signs of a trap.
Okay, fine. Okay, spread yourselves out now. Just get out of the way. There's so many cow tracks that it'd take us hours to literally go right the way around the area.
We're not after right the way around the area.
All
So wants us to get up to that bush.
All I want is to
Well,
get
I'm
up
not
to do
interested in the rest.
is I'm going to go through there after my court would have said this.
Yeah.
All right, come in that way.
Well, the search team have arrived. You can see them here. The NCO in charge has been up to look at the route, see what the story is, and he thinks he's seen a wire running out across the fields. At the moment, his corporal's gone back up to give a second opinion, and we might well now find that instead of him clearing a route for us down this way to our target, he's going to have to clear the field first, because if there is a wire there, we now have what I mentioned earlier, this possibility of somebody watching and waiting. So we've now gone into the next dimension, and these lads may take 2 or 3 hours to eliminate that factor.
What could the wire lead to? Who?
The wire could lead to a terrorist. A terrorist with a button and a box. Simple as that.
While the searchers fan out through the fields, there's time to reflect on unseen enemies.
I think you must just think about the bomb itself. You mustn't get tied up with the man who, why he does it. I think I can understand why there is a Republican movement. I can understand why there were the freedom marches early on. It is hard to understand why a total stranger would like to kill you.
It's very deceptive, this is a beautiful summer afternoon, a country lane. Just feel like relaxing, don't
Well,
you?
you feel like chewing grass and sitting on the bank, but you just don't know. I think this is the big problem. You don't know. It's a strange war, isn't it? You don't know who the enemy is. Right. And it is so pleasant and peaceful at present.
The search team have almost reached the bags.
Okay, as soon as he can reach forward and touch these bags, that's enough. Okay, come back.
For the 20-year-old engineer who inched his way up to the bags, it's been a frightening 40 minutes, worrying all the time about possible booby traps.
Well, I might just be down tonight. Sorry?
I am, and I was.
Hang on, let's take the handle.
There's just 4 plastic bags, 4 white plastic bags with orange markings on it, and that's it.
What are you going to do to get to them?
I have to look very carefully where you're going, look for tripwires, or anything that may have been, any ground that may have been disturbed. That's it.
Having seen it, what do you think of it?
It's not too bad once you start. You know, it's just concentration.
You've got to be very careful not to make any mistakes. Better when it's over?
Yeah.
Pass me the tape.
The path has been cleared, now it's up to the bomb disposal team. They decide to prepare charges that will blow the sacks up completely.
That's why I left that end, actually.
Well, you want to come in there, don't you, so as it goes both ways. Or else if you get a break there, surely the whole thing will fail out on you. This way at least you're bound to get one of them.
When the bang comes, if it's a sharp crack, it'll mean the bags were innocent, a hoax. But if there's a rumbling boom, that'll mean the bags did contain explosive. And that will add one more to the 6,000-odd bombs dealt with in Ulster so far. There seems nothing left to do but pick up the pieces for testing. We all think it's safe, but we're wrong.
No further, it hasn't been cleared.
Pardon, sir?
It hasn't been cleared.
This is all right because of the blast. The blast has gone clean over this one, sir. There's a piece out there, but that will stay.
Not to get much more.
Deep in the bushes, laid beyond the reach of the explosion, Bob has noticed another package.
Out! Back! 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 Back!
I'm on one. Hang on, still on.
It's dangerous, isn't it?
Well, we had the most dangerous job today. Me or the little lad who went in and searched, really. It is dangerous in that at one moment in time now and again you're standing next to something that could go off bang.
What difference to life here in Northern Ireland does it make that you and your team have dealt with that thing?
Very little, a bit less explosives for the terrorists. But other than that, it's a minor incident really, isn't it?
In that case, the army reacted quickly to the finding of the bomb. But with country bombs, they don't always have to.
One can afford to ignore them in some instances. There is a meat van down on the border at the moment that was hijacked, I think now about 6 weeks ago. It wasn't blocking a road, it wasn't blocking a vital security force's route. On this occasion, we decided to ignore it. There was no reason to go there, and gradually one finds, after a couple of recces, that they've moved it back about 6 feet to let the traffic by, and finally, I understand, a couple of days ago, they have moved it completely off the road so that the road is now open. Now, some poor man has lost his meat van by the IRA. It wasn't a come-on situation. There was no need for us to react to it. So we do have the option.
Was the meat van full of meat?
Well, I understand that the air is a bit blue around it at the moment, and you can't get within about 30 yards. But if they put it there, they can take it away. It's as simple as that.
Which would you prefer to face yourself, a bomb in the town or one in the country?
I don't think I have any preference at all, but I know some operators do. For example, the chaps that work in Belfast will get a city complex. We call it a city complex. I think they get a sense of security with the walls of the buildings around them and being able to get really tightly behind their Saracens and their pigs.
The call is to an optician's works. 2 time bombs were defused there in a small storeroom last night. Now they've spotted something else. Watching men under stress, Hemingway said that courage is grace in adversity. The adversity for Nigel now is substantial. After being out on hoaxes all night, With a headache from breathing nitroglycerin fumes on forensic work, imprisoned in a sweltering suit, he's going to have to squeeze into a small room where a bomb's set to go off nobody knows when.
Where's Dial? Can you check Dial's got the 2 bits of kit I asked him for, please, Fred?
I haven't seen any device, but I've seen where they've broken in, where they've piled the spectacle cases in sort of a bonfire, and put a rubber tire on top. But whether there was anything at the bottom of the pile, I wouldn't say. Needless to say, I didn't look.
Okay, we'll have a look around for you.
Have you any idea why the bomber should have picked your storeroom?
No reason whatsoever. I can't imagine why at all. I employ both religions. I have about 70 of a staff, approximately 35 Catholics, 35 Protestants. Some of the staff I don't even know what religion they are, so I can't understand why. They don't need a reason. They just pick anywhere at all, anywhere that's convenient.
What do you know about the building? You were in there last night.
I wasn't. Mr. Cooper was in there. I know the way in. I've got to go in.
Upstairs, downstairs?
It's upstairs on the first floor. In fact, there's a little entrance just around the corner here, which I can go up some wooden stairs and over a bridge along to get to this device. And there are a lot of boxes, cardboard boxes.
Have been pulled down in
and they've been pulled down on it. And they've moved some of these, and I think they found the device underneath it. So I'm quite happy about it. Your chap's got the area clear.
We've got the area completely cleared
nicely
now.
tied off down there.
His thoughts now are concentrated.
Fine. The very final thing that I do before I go forward, when I have to go forward, is to say to myself one final time, have I got it right? Am I going in the right way? Check this. Are you getting anything there?
Yes, perfect, sir.
Absolutely now.
Yes, sir.
Right, finished? I'm going to do a little jump. Still no problem.
Self-preservation is a strong instinct, but whatever drives Nigel now has to be stronger.
You've had tremendous self-discipline drilled into you, and I had this drilled into me at Santos. You've been trained, and you've been trained over a long period of time.
Inside self-discipline, outside constant reappraisal.
We know the way in is safe because someone came out only about half an hour, three-quarters of an hour ago. We know that the building has been attacked last night, and one of the features of these type of attacks is that they normally put multiple devices in there. They don't normally rely on just one device. So there's every possibility of there being another similar device in there.
Is it an incendiary?
Well, at the moment I wouldn't like to say what it is. It's a small container which they suspect holds a device. We'll have to wait and see what it is until he comes out.
They expect an incendiary, but the pile of boxes or the tire may be booby-trapped. Only Nigel can find out. On his first inspection, he's found a remote way of shifting the tire, so he's a little safer, but not much wiser.
I cannot see anything underneath.
Are you putting that on the rubber tire?
I'm pulling that on the rubber tire to get the first thing out of the way.
Right.
Could be a long job, this one.
It will indeed. There's going to be weights and goodness knows what else. You can't see it from outside anyway.
Pardon?
You can't see it from outside.
I might be able to if I get up in that top flat there, but it's very difficult. So.
I'll go and have a look.
If they can get a view into the room from a distance, they just might be able to defuse the device by shooting at it.
Jerry, what are you going to do? We can't see it right there at all. The ATO has been around the back of the building where there are 3 windows through which he should be able to see the device or the placing of the device. In other words, what's covering it and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, the windows are so dirty that although you can see the window very, very clearly, we can't see inside it. So what he's going to do now, because the line he has on it is fairly deviously routed out through the building, he's going to try and straighten it out a bit so that he's got a much straighter pull to see what can happen.
This is to pull the stuff off the top of the device?
This is to try and pull the stuff off the top so that he can see if there is a device there or not.
All right, that'll do. We'll certainly move.
The next step must be back into the room to try actually to uncover the bomb and lay a charge against it to defuse it.
Now
wait a minute.
Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet.
There is so much going on that you really don't have time to worry about anything. You know that if it's going to go off, if it's of any appreciable size, then it will get you.
He'll be recording everything he does, so they have a precise record of his actions.
Right, I'm walking forward now, about to enter the building. I'm now in the building. Oh yes, there is something here. It's in a green diffs bag.
In a diffs bag?
Christ, it's bloody hot here. Now, if there's anything it's in there. I can smell something, but I'm not sure what it is. It might be... No. No. In fact, the newspaper's come off, and the package I'm looking at is in a blue paper package. The package itself is about 5 inches long, about 3 inches high. It seems to have something in it because it's got a grease stain on the outside. I'm moving back from it now. I've now got the stick in my hand. I'll take this cover off it. There we are. Right. The stick is positioned right in front of the device. And I'm beating a retreat.
Right.
I've picked up the tyre too. Coming out of the door now. There we are. One tyre. That's the sort of thing in there. Thousands of them. Let me get the helmet off. Come on, get it off quickly. Take these pads out of the front. Fine. Oh, there are literally thousands of them.
All that remains is to fire the charge. There should be a small bang. A big one will mean the whole building going up.
Stand by! Firing!
The building is saved.
How much damage has been done?
Mostly superficial, very, very little. You know, a couple of hours with a few brushes, it'll soon be tidied up again.
If the incendiary bomb had gone off, what would you have stood to lose?
Virtually everything. Virtually everything.
Could you put a value on it?
100,000. So the whole factory would have gone, yeah.
I'm very pleased, actually. It's my first one that has successfully been taken to pieces.
So you're blooded, so to speak.
I'm blooded.
He's no longer a virgin, if you like.
No longer a virgin, if you like. Now, it's very difficult for you chaps up here. Very narrow stairway. Can you manage? Here we are. Here's the scene of the 1,000 boxes. In fact, we knocked some of these over when we made the little explosion.
No, it's fine.
Right. When I came in, all these boxes here were piled right over the device, as were those boxes over in the corner. And on top of the lot was the tyre, which you saw earlier on. The bomb itself was wrapped in the Woolworths-type paper. You want to come and have a look down here. We have here bits of explosive scattered around the place.
Sort of thing.
Over there we have a watch device in the background. You frightened, are you?
Are you really?
Well, no, I'm not now.
Oh, hang on, I'm going to focus.
And I think there's a bit of detonator still stuck in the wall there, in fact. And that is one device. Very good. Right. Let's go.